Shalom, friends, and welcome to Times Freedom Wave Radio **. Today's episode is called The Remnant Rising. It's a message for those who worship in places where faith costs everything, for those who gather in secret, hold tight to the word, and follow Yeshua amidst great risk. If you're listening and that describes you, I want you to know you are not alone. Here's the thing about a remnant. It's small, but it's mighty. Think of seeds buried deep in the soil. They're hidden, but they hold life. Romans 11:5 says, "At the present time there is a remnant, chosen by grace." That's you. Whether you're meeting in a basement, a living room, or under the cover of night, God sees you, and He preserves His people, even when the world feels like it's crumbling. But let's be real, it's easy to feel insignificant when you're part of something small. You might wonder, does this really matter? Does anyone see us? Here's a story. During the Soviet Union's crackdown on Christianity, house churches thrived in the quiet. Families whispered prayers in kitchens, passed scripture hand to hand. And guess what? They didn't just survive, they multiplied. The remnant is never forgotten. Now, here's the counterpoint. Some might say, why not just go silent and avoid the risk altogether? Wouldn't that be safer? But to that I say, faith isn't just a private affair. It's meant to shine, even in the darkest places. You can be discreet, yet bold. It's about wisdom, not fear. So as you listen today, remember this. Being small doesn't mean being weak. The remnant has always been God's secret weapon. And as history shows us, it's often the smallest sparks that ignite the biggest flames. All right. Let's dig a little deeper. The tension between light and darkness, it's something every believer in hard places understands. John 3:19 says, "People loved darkness rather than light." And Yeshua himself said, "This is your hour, the power of darkness." Darkness often feels overwhelming, doesn't it? It creeps in through fear, secrecy, and oppression. But here's the thing. Light doesn't fear the dark. Imagine walking through a pitch-black room with just a tiny candle. That little flame pierces the darkness effortlessly. If you're walking with God, even in secret, you're carrying that flame. Think about underground believers in North Korea, every whispered prayer, every hidden Bible study. It's light pushing back against shadows. Of course, it's not easy. The darkness fights back. Some might say, why not just blend in? Keep faith private? But here's the challenge. Blending in can extinguish the light entirely. Faith thrives when it's shared, even when shared cautiously. So, what's the forward-looking implication here? The underground church reminds us that light doesn't need permission to shine. In fact, the harder the darkness presses, the brighter the light becomes. It's not about shouting from rooftops. It's about quiet, steady perseverance. Your light matters, even if it's small. Let's take a moment to look back at the early church. It's fascinating, isn't it? They didn't have grand cathedrals or social media platforms. They didn't even have the legal right to exist. What did they have? Homes, meals, simple prayers. Acts 2:46 says, "They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts." Picture this. A small group of believers gathered in a dimly lit room. They're sharing bread, reading letters from Paul, praying for one another. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. During persecution, they scattered, and everywhere they went, the gospel spread like wildfire. It reminds me of bamboo. You can cut it down, but its roots spread underground. Before you know it, it's growing everywhere. Now, some might argue, but isn't simplicity a sign of weakness? Shouldn't the church aim for influence and visibility? That's the world's perspective, but God's kingdom operates differently. Simplicity is strength. It's adaptable, resilient, and hard to crush. Big structures can crumble, small groups can move quietly and multiply exponentially. Here's the takeaway for us today. Simplicity isn't just a method, it's a mindset. The early church thrived because their focus wasn't on programs or buildings. It was on relationships, obedience, and spreading the message. That's a blueprint we can follow no matter where we are. Alright, let's talk about standing strong under pressure. Yeshua said, "Whoever holds out till the end will be delivered." That's easier said than done, right? When faith becomes dangerous, the stakes are high. But here's what Scripture teaches us. Strength isn't just about endurance, it's about wisdom. Imagine this. You're part of a house church in a hostile country. You've got to be cautious small groups, rotating meeting places, keeping names private. It's not paranoia, it's stewardship. I once read about a group in China that used coded messages to organize gatherings. They weren't acting in fear, they were acting in wisdom. But here's the counterpoint. Wisdom alone isn't enough. You also need faith. Some might say, why not just avoid the danger entirely? Stop meeting. But faith calls us to gather, even if it's risky. It's about balancing caution with courage. Looking ahead, this balance, wisdom, and faith is the key to survival in hard places. It's not about being reckless or shrinking back. It's about trusting God while using the tools He's given us. So, as you face pressure, remember, wisdom protects, but faith sustains. And together, they'll see you through.